Hey friends, it's Gina. Welcome to the Rebookery channel. Do you have a stack of these? You know, photos, memories, things that you wanted to document about a certain event or something that you did or a trip that you had or just something important in your life that you want to remember it, but you just haven't ever gotten around to putting it all together in some sort of a journal or book or notebook. Well, I have a lot of these. I have a lot of these piles around my house of just collections of photos and little notes and all kinds of things that I want to remember about a certain event, but I just haven't ever gotten around to putting them together. And I have had enough. I've decided that now I'm going to start putting them into journals, and I don't care what it looks like. It is all about getting the memories down, and if it becomes pretty in the process, awesome. If not, I'm not going to worry about it. So this is a stack of photos that I have since we moved into the house that we live in now, which we moved in 2009. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, we moved in 2008. So we've lived here almost 10 years. And when we bought this house, it was like a builder's special, you know, just your run-of-the-mill suburban type house. And it didn't have any landscaping or anything like that. So we landscaped the heck out of this house. And along the way, in the last 9 or so years, I have photographed and documented all of the different things that we've done to our house. And I got tired of seeing this pile sit there, so I decided to put them in a journal. And this is my journal. So what I did was I decided, like, I'm going to plan this out so that I don't have to spend a lot of time searching for the right papers and trying to make it all perfect. I just want to plan it out so that I know where everything goes and I know how to put it all together, and I'm going to stay with my focus, because sometimes I get off task really easily and a project will start off one way and it goes in another direction. So I just took a piece of paper and I started to write down this journal that I want. I wanted to make mine about a garden, but yours doesn't have to be about a garden. It could be about anything. It could be a trip. It could be a party. It could be something that you did that you wanted to remember. Maybe it was a project that you did at your house or something. Maybe it was, maybe it's a cookbook. Maybe it's a whole bunch of recipes that you want to keep track of. Maybe this is your son's 4th birthday, or some really cool event that happened with your children that you wanted to document, like they did a concert or they did a talent show or something. So anyway, it doesn't have to be garden, but mine just is garden. So the first thing I did was I wrote down what my purpose was going to be. My purpose for this journal is to document and make notes about my plants, flowers, my pond, my landscaping, my veggies, and my herbs since we lived in our house and we moved in 2008. So this is my purpose. This is what I want to do. I want to document and make notes so that I can look back on these things and see where we've, you know, progressed. But I can also keep notes about plants that I've planted, because I'm not a big gardener. I wish I was. I come from a long line of gardeners, but it just, like, I don't know. My thumb is not as green as I wish it was. But I do like to keep track of things that I know worked or didn't work from year to year, so I can remember that when I go to plant the next year. So that was the purpose of this journal. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to have sections. What kind of sections do I want? Well, we have a pond in our backyard, so I wanted a section about the pond because there's been a lot of cool things that have happened with that pond over the years. I want a section about planning or landscaping, or just how we have changed this lot that we live on. Recently, I just started planting veggies, and I've always done herbs, but I've just started doing veggies, so I want a whole section on that. Of course, flowers, and I don't do a lot of flowers. Trees, because we had one tree when we moved in, and now we have probably 10 trees, and they are They are beautiful, but we've also lost a lot of trees too. Maintenance, so how do I keep track of all of this stuff? How do I take care of it? And then I got a rain barrel this summer, so I want to put something in there about my rain barrel. Guests, because we kind of live out in the country, and so we have a lot of visitors. We have snakes and birds and turtles, and we've named them, and so there's kind of stories that go along with these things. And then my plans and my dreams. What do I want to do from here on? Once I did that, I started to figure out what kind of book do I want. Did I want something that was hand bound, and I wouldn't be able to take pages in and out? And I thought about that, and I have a lot of books, altered books, that I could have used. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I want to be able to get in and take pages out. So I know I've talked about these before, but I love these binder cookbook type of things. There's the Better Homes and Gardens, there's Betty Crocker, there's Pillsbury. They originally were cookbooks, but there's also garden books and sewing books and decorating books, and I'm obsessed with them. And so I always use these as my scrapbook. So it just seemed perfect that I had one that was garden book. And so I thought, well, okay, I'll use it. So once I put my sections in, I started to figure out how I want my pages to look. And what I thought would be the easiest for me is if I just went ahead and made a bunch of blank pages. That way, what I could do is just go through and slap pictures down or write notes or stick sticky notes, and then I wouldn't have to worry about decorating the page, because that's where I get off track, and that's where I get overwhelmed, is when I start looking at all these pages and I think I need to make them the prettiest they ever were, and I need to add all these little stickers and stuff, and that's not what I wanted this book to be. I just want this book to document what I'm doing, and if it's pretty, awesome. If not, it's okay. So when I get into my binder books here, the first thing I do is I always pull out the index cards. So it just seemed you know, common sense that I would use some of the indexes that were already in this book, because it was going to go along with what I had. So I pulled out some of these index cards, and I was able to find ones like one that said lot planning and vegetables and roses and trees. So I used those. Then I made my own pages, and I just kind of made them about the same size. And these are just scrapbook paper. This is just some cardstock. It was, honestly, it was a color I wasn't really a fan of, and I thought, well, I might as well just use it in this. So I made several of those, and then put some fabric, some floral fabric and stuff, stitched it down the side. Then I found a couple of my favorite old scrapbook papers. I think this is, back in my old scrapbooking days, this was Sassafras Lass was this scrapbooking company, and oh my gosh, their papers were beautiful. Like, they were quirky and they were just funky and weird, and I loved them. And they no longer make papers. Well, I don't know, I haven't bought like nice scrapbook paper in, you know, forever for me personally. But so this was a page that I had left, and it was just a remnant, so I cut it in half, put my holes in it, and then just sewed on some vintage playing cards. So this would be perfect for a photo and a little journaling. So I made a couple of those. I took some wallpaper that I have and just cut it down to size, sewed some fabric on the side. Then let's see what else I have in here. Then I have an envelope. So I just took an envelope, and this was where I just wanted to keep a bunch of stuff so that when I'm not ready to put it in my journal yet, I can at least have it. So I made an envelope, just poked holes in it, put this little flap here so it will hold it closed. So that was a way to keep a lot of my ephemera. And then going with the garden theme, I started to pull some pages from the original book, but then I also had some other garden books. So I took the pages and I just stitched them, and for these guys I made them into a pocket, so I can stick these in, I can stick photos and stuff in them, I can add pictures and things on these. And this is actually on houseplants. So, you know, guys, it doesn't have to perfectly match up, and that's kind of the way I like to journal and scrapbook. Is I don't want it to be literal. I want it to be kind of abstract, and I want, you know, to look at it and be like, why the heck does she put a jade plant in there when she's talking about her pond? That's exactly, I like for people to be puzzled. So made some of these, and then I had some science books that had some pages in it. This one was on amphibians, mushrooms, bee, because I have these two, and I'm actually looking at them right now. I'm looking out my back window. I have these two huge bumblebees that hang out on my deck, and I can't tell where they live. Like, they live up in my roof somewhere in the gutter, and I'm okay with them coming down because you know, I need them to pollinate my tomatoes and all that good stuff. But yeah, so these bees are huge. So I found this in a book. I pulled that out. We have some owls, and the owls I can hear them hooting at night, in the fall especially. But a lot of times in the summer I can hear them too. They'll get up on our street lights. And we have a street light right in front of our house. So thought I'd put a page in there about that. And then, you know, I don't know if I'll journal about owls here, but at least I'll have this in my book, and it will just remind me that even if I don't journal about the owls and I never take a picture of the owls, I will see those owls and I will automatically think, oh yeah, you know, we have owls in our neighborhood. Then I just got some white cardstock, and it was 8.5 by 11. I just folded it so that it would kind of be the same-ish size, and I'm okay if it hangs off a little bit. I'm all right with stuff hanging out of my book. And then I don't like white, so I just made about like 5 or 6 of these, and I just literally threw some watercolor and some ink and just nothing. I did not even think about it. It was not deliberate. I just threw stuff on there because, again, I just want to get my memories and my thoughts down. So once I had all these pages, my book was kind of good to go. And then these were the ones that I didn't use, so I'll put those in another journal. So once I had my pages, I just loaded them in here with all the blank pages. And I sat down with, sorry, my desk is a mess here. I sat down with just a very small amount of materials. So one of them was my list of all of my plants that I wanted to make sure I talked about. So these were my herbs and my vegetables that I planted this year. So I just had a list of those. And then I wanted this to be so bare bones. Like, I do not want to have to fish through my room and try to find things to put into this. So I made my supplies so basic, like a stapler, one roller stamp, this little stamp just because it has date on it, but I could have used anything that had date on it. These are some old alphabet stickers that I have that I haven't used in a while, and I just grabbed them because I thought the font would be really cool in this book. And then my little stamp block here, which is stuck to my wrapping paper. And then I just grabbed some papers, and I'll show you where I got my papers. So I've been using this collage book where I'm so tired of just papers being everywhere. And I showed this in my last video, but I've just kind of put a whole bunch of papers in here. And then when I want to collage or I want to do some journaling or scrapbooking, I just go to this and I just pull out whatever pages I want. And if it's not in here, then I don't go look for it. I don't go find other papers. This is what I use. And I love this. This is like become my go-to. Like, I don't go anywhere without this. And my thought is that this will be totally consumable. Like, I will end up and use the whole thing. I have another one that I've actually cut the cover and used it as tags and stuff. So my goal is to play around with this a little bit more, but then I want to make some of these. I've actually got them started and put them in my Etsy shop and see if anybody would be interested in purchasing some of these, because I tell you what, it has revolutionized my paper mess. And that's the one thing I think that deters me from creating is the mess. Like, I have so much stuff that I can't figure out what I want to use, and then I'm just stymied. Like, I don't want to do anything. And I think a lot of people, from reading comments and stuff, a lot of people feel that same way. So this has kind of been my go-to with this. So these papers actually just came out of it. And then just some label stickers. These are some old map stickers that I had that I thought would be kind of cute to point to some of my flowers. And then I just found this old flower sticker sheet, and so that's what I'm using. So those were my basic supplies, and I had so much fun putting this together. I sat down at my kitchen table and just started literally gluing pictures in. I mean, I just started slapping them down, and I still have a ton to do, which I'm going to do some process videos on a couple of these. But let me show you what I've got done so far. Okay, so the first thing I did was I went through and I made all my sections, which I told you guys about. And if there wasn't one on a particular section that I wanted, dude, it is okay. I just totally made up my own section. Like, I know there's not one on pond. Let me find it right here. Yeah. So there was not a green index tab called pond in this book. So I just made one. I don't even know what one this is, but I took it and I just put the word pond on it. So this is the type of journaling and scrapbooking I love. Use what you have. You don't have to go out and buy a whole bunch of brand new stuff. So, okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I started off with a picture of our house when we first moved in, and it was just a blank slate, and I love it because my son is right there, my youngest son, and he was so little when we moved in. And then this is a picture that I just took, and so I thought that was kind of cool to have those right there next to each other. Literally slapped it down, and then I put a little bit of washi tape, and then this is it. This is all I have to write with. And I just, instead of backing, like back in the old scrapbook days, I would have to like layer my papers and all this other stuff. I don't have time for that right now. So I just took a marker and I just edged around my pictures, and that gave it a nice little background and made it the focal point. And since my page was already done with the fabric, I didn't have to worry about it. This is just some pictures of the front. This section I haven't done anything to yet because I have a ton of pictures that I want to go in here. So I'm going to have to work on this section. This was my container vegetables. So the actual index was vegetables, but then I stamped on their container and herbs. And so then I just took pictures of what I have. So here's where, let me see if I can find them. Here's where these white cardstock pages came into play. So I set this up. I used my stamps, and I set up my pages. I knew exactly what I wanted them to look like. I'll show you here. I had drawn what I wanted them to look like. So you can kind of see in my mind, I was like, this is how I want, because I have a lot of pictures, and I knew I needed to get them all on there because I don't want this book to be, you know, like 40 pounds. So I knew how I wanted them to be pictures over here with the names, notes in the center, and then later on I can add more pictures and more room on this fold out part right here. And then when I flip it over, I'll do the exact same thing on the back. So I could actually get 1, 2, 3, 4. I can get 4 different items on one of these pages. So I kind of knew what I wanted this to look like. And so I just sat down one afternoon and started throwing things down. And you can kind of see, like, I've got my pictures of when I planted. Here's some notes, like where I got it from. I had already done some color wash and stuff, watercolor and stuff on here, so there wasn't anything that I needed to do fancy. Put the label on it, said what it was, put a date on it, and then I was done. So then if I flip it over, this is the back. Now I got a little fancy on some of these. Let me see if you guys can see that. Oh, yeah, you can. So I got a little fancy, and if I had a couple of pictures, I like would make, you know, more space by putting pictures together and making a little flap. So these are my I'm sorry tomato plants, and so I had to put this little note in here because my son, he was kind of a butt to me, and so he left me a note the next day, and it said, I'm really sorry about yesterday. Here are some tomato plants. So I thought that was so cute. I mean, why would you give me tomato plants for being sorry? But whatever, I loved it, and it was awesome. And the tomato plants actually came from his botany class. So I thought that was cute. So I put that on there. And then here's a place for some notes. And then here's my next one. So here's where I put some of those tags that actually came with my plants and stuff. I thought that was awesome to put those on there because I love these and I hate throwing them away. So here's some more stuff that I planted, some more notes. Again, the page was already done, so I didn't need to worry about any of the artwork. Here's some more, another flap. Oh, that's a little teacup. I put that in here because eventually I want to glue that on, because there's my mint, and that's why I grow the mint. This was some wrapping paper that I have that I just love, and so I put that on the back of this paper when I was making them pretty one day. This was just me sitting on the deck, and this was, so this is a book page of a bee, and this is just a white piece of paper I glued on the front, and it's just me attempting to draw and just writing some notes. So I have places in here where I can just draw and write things. This is all about flowers. So again, the same setup, because I have a lot of pictures and I wanted to make sure that I had room for all of them. And then I like this right here because this was a little tag holder, maybe. There we go. So I was able to stick these in. And I like to keep track of what plants I buy. So that's why I keep these little tags. And same thing with this right here. So stuck those in. And then this one was on roses. So I'm not a big rose person because my thumbs aren't very green, but I do have this huge rose bush out front that is just crazy. So I stuck a picture of it on there. And then this is just a little tag that talks about how long I've had this plant and what I've done with it. Then this was, oh, I like this one. This was the view from my window. So this is out my front door. And I just stood in the living room and then took a picture going out the window of what I can see. And it just happened to be the rose bush. My section on trees, I don't have anything yet because there's a lot I want to say about trees because I love, love, love trees. But this was a book page I found that I just stuck in here. So I'll add something to that. Now this is my favorite section. This is my pond section, and so I have a journaling card in here because I'm going to journal about this. I didn't have time when I'll go in different modes. So if I'm all about pictures, I'm all about just slapping down the pictures. If I'm all about decorating pages, then I'm all about decorating pages. If I'm journaling, then I'm all about journaling. So this particular day I was all about putting pictures down, and so I just put journal cards in here so I can go back when I'm in the journaling mood. I'll go back and I'll journal. But this pond is right in our backyard, and my youngest son spent so many days at this pond. He doesn't do much anymore because he's 17 and he's in high school and soccer and he works and everything. But back in the day, oh my gosh, he would spend so much time there. So I have tons of pond pictures. So I'm, just tried to put in as many as I possibly could. I did get a little fancy here and I sewed around my pictures just because, I don't know, I feel like no pages are done unless there's some stitching on them. That's just kind of the way I am. So this is cool. This was a book, a science book called Animals of Ponds and Streams. And I've been wanting to use it and I just couldn't figure out how to use it. So it just seemed perfect to put in this section. So this is a page from the book. And then I just made a little pocket back here and stuck some photos in of my kiddo when he was fishing. He would fish all the time and he would catch frogs. And then it just so happened that there was a page in the book about bullfrogs. So I stuck that in. And then that kind of made me, once I saw that page, I was like, oh, then I could put the bullfrog picture here and put that picture here. Then our pond, in 2012, we had a drought. So our pond dried up almost completely. It was sad. So I had documented that. I had taken pictures of that and just never did anything with the pictures. So I need to journal. I'm going to journal about it here, but these are just pictures of what the pond looked like when it dried up. And by the way, with around the edges of this page, or these pictures, I didn't use marker. These are pictures that I print at home, and sometimes the marker, even the Sharpies, don't stick on those. So this was a China marker, and I don't think I have it with me, but it's like a colored pencil. It's a thick one, and it's called a China marker, and it's specifically for, it's waterproof, and it's specifically for slick surfaces. So I just used my China marker and just went around the edges of these pictures. Did not take a lot of time doing it, just kind of slapped them down. So I love this one. This was a page in that book called Catfish. Well, my son loves to catch catfish out of the ponds and he throws them back. So there's this one catfish, and we call him the one-eyed catfish because he only has one eye, and my son would catch him every year. So I had some pictures of that. Again, hadn't ever done anything with those pictures. This was back in 2011. So I thought, what a perfect place to put these pictures. And so I just stuck them down on that book page, left some of the text showing, and then here's some more pictures of the pond that I need to add. Oh my goodness. I may have to find something else to do with these pictures. But at least I'll have the memories down. Another book page, some journaling about just recently when I was walking around the pond, some things that I saw. On any given day, you can go out to that pond and you can find, oh my gosh, so much cool stuff. And it's like 20 feet from my house. This subdivision that we live in used to be an orchard, and so there's lots of there used to be lots of trees, but then there's these two ponds. And so yeah, it's kind of like National Geographic out there. Yesterday, there was a snake slithering through the pond. I saw him swimming across the pond. And then I saw him come over to the side, and I thought, okay, what is he gonna do here? And I was waiting for him to come up in the grass. About 30 seconds later, I see this frog, and he jumps across the pond, like 4 jumps across the pond, and puts out this little frog scream, and the snake caught him and ate him. It was very sad. It was very sad. Okay, back to this. Turtles. We have turtles lots of times. This came from the that Animals of the Pond and Streams book, so I just stuck. We have box turtles in our yards all the time, so this is one for 2012, 2013. Just slap that on there. Here's some blank pages that I haven't put anything on, and then now I'm at the end of it. So here's the thing. I'm gonna do some process videos as I add more pages into my journal, my garden journal here. But what I want you to do is I want you to think about what event, what thing do you have that's looming over you, where you have tons of pictures and tons of memories that you just haven't documented. And then I want you to make a plan. Plan out how you want to document this and come up with your purpose. What do you want this to be? Who's your audience going to be? What type of feel do you want this to have? Do you want it to have a very organic kind of haphazard feel, or do you want this to be fussy and pretty and all that good stuff? And then start figuring out what type of a book you want to put all that stuff in, and get started. It's a little daunting at first, but once you get going, you kind of become obsessed. And like, now this is my mission. I want to finish this because I am so gosh darn excited about it. As for these books, I have some that I'm going to put in my Etsy store where I have already made the pages. So the pages are already there, ready to go. All you have to do is slap your photos down. I want to get a few more before I actually put them on Etsy. I have one that is a sewing book, and it's sewing themed, so it would be great for like projects that crafty projects that you're doing. I have another one that is, I have 2 of them actually that are travel journals. So it would be, again, doesn't have to be garden. It would be all of your memories from a trip you've taken or trips that you've taken. So I have 2 of those. I want to do another garden one, and I don't know, I think I want just a couple plain like scrapbook ones where it's just any theme you want. So it would have the same components, but it would just be more generalized. And then maybe a cookbook. So I don't know. That's my goal. I want to have that done in the next couple of weeks and get those, show you guys, and then get those posted on Etsy. But in the meantime, you can find something like this, and it doesn't have to be like this. It can be anything. The important part is just getting your memories down and making something that you will treasure and that you will love looking at, and it'll bring back all those fun memories of this, all those pictures that you have. All right, guys, this has been a long video. I am going to peace out. I will see you all later. Have a great day. Bye.